Hi, my loves. Happy new moon in Leo. I wanted to record a short and sweet video regarding the energy of today and the energy that is going to still be around for the next week or so. So if you feel like you did not feel like doing a ritual or you didn't want to or you haven't been led to, but you still wanted to acknowledge the new moon and you weren't interested in the Lion's Gate, that's fine. I have something for you too. But if you are interested in the Lion's Gate, I do not have a breakdown of why this energy is significant as far as the um, the mythology behind it and also the star alignment. You can read that information anywhere. I want to kind of get to the nitty gritty really quickly, as quickly as I can, to give you an idea on how to continue to utilize this energy throughout the rest of the year. Okay. And so we know that this is the Lion's Gate. We are in Leo season. It is the 8th month and the 8th day. And we are also in a year 5, 2021. You have the 2, you don't count the 0, the other 2, which is 4, and the 1. Add those together, that's a 5. The numbers 5 and 8 both rule Leo. Okay. And so because of this particular place in time during this year is actually like being in the middle of the infinity symbol. If you turn an 8 on its side, it looks like an infinity symbol. Boom. See, you can see this infinity symbol or 8. You decide which way you want to play it, okay? So when you have this infinity symbol, when you get to 0 point, when you get to a place where you can stop, reflect, and then project the future that you want to create into the world, you are at 0 point, okay? You are right there in the middle between your past and the future. And a lot of us have been feeling this. A lot of us have actually been releasing not just our past, but our parents, aunts, uncles, sometimes even our children. And we've had to do this in ways that would normally hurt us so sorely and severely that it would paralyze us from actually making that move. But this time, we all had to make a choice. And in making the choice to separate or move away or release ourselves from relationships that we thought would last longer than now, we're all at that place of choosing something new. We are now finally activating that North Node and Gemini energy fully. We're really engaging with it. And all next year, we're going to be engaged with it, even though in January, the nodes are going to change from Gemini and Sagittarius to Taurus and Scorpio. 2 completely different places, from mutable energy, changeable energy, to a very fixed energy. And so you have to know what you are going to be fixed on, okay? And the things that are going to come with the lessons of whatever you fixate on. We already know if you fixate on smoking cigarettes for the next 10 years, you are going to do a tremendous amount of damage to your body and to those that are around you. So you have to be prepared. Do you want the consequences of possible cancer, emphysema, all kinds of issues that come with it, the smell, and not really the social disdain for it, but the harmful effects that come from it? Yes or no? That's really what it is. And so now that we're at this 0 point on this day, even though it's not technically like the middle of the year, it's as close to the middle as we're going to get, where we get to look back and reflect over how last year ended, how this year began, and how we want this year to end, and how we see next year beginning. So you don't really have to do any long-term planning. You don't have to Make a list of the things you'll be doing 10 years from now, or even 5 years from now. You want to focus on 1 year from this year until the next Lionsgate. Really easy to do, okay? And this is how easy, I'm going to show you how easy it is to take the energy that you have given anything that has not nourished you and actually take it and to plant it this new moon so that you can see the first little seedling sprouts by the time we reach the Aquarian full moon on August 22nd, 22, which is a 4. That is you coming into balance with yourself and your relationship so that you can create some stability in your life. So before we can get to the stability, we have to build it. We have to say what we want. What do we want to be stable? What do we want to fixate on in a healthy way? So I'm going to share my screen. I hope this works. Hope so. Okay, yay. So I wanted to share the real-time clock here, and this is for the transits. I have it set for New York time, and it's not the current time, but it's close enough. So let's change to the current time. Okay, so as we can see, the new moon, I wonder if it'll let me annotate. Yeah, it will. All right. So the new moon is in the sign of Leo, along with the sun. It's conjunct the sun and the planet Mercury. So this is a new birthing. We already know when there's a planet hanging around the moon, the new moon and the sun, they are giving birth to a whole new mission, a whole new purpose. And so I'm starting with Aries on the first house cusp. Okay. So if you are an Aries rising, this is for you, or an Aries sun or Aries moon, but especially an Aries rising. For you all, that means that because you're an Aries rising, Leo is on the 5th house cusp for you. And whenever Leo is on the 5th house cusp, where it belongs, it's going to have freaking fun. This is where you can actually finally get the F out of your head, get the F out of the past and things that were denied to you and your personhood, the individualism that was denied to you, the ability for you to drive forward and do something different, all of those slowdowns and who do you think you are? This is where you get to utilize them and tell the world, tell us who you are, show us who you are. What's the song? Show yourself, show yourself. This is your chance. The sun is here and the moon saying, birth your new story, tell your truth, the real truth about yourself. And what's supporting you on the other side of your 5th house is the 11th house, and Aquarius starts your 11th house. And so Saturn is there right now, giving you the backbone, and Jupiter is giving you the leap of faith that you need to take to step into your authentic self with no holds barred, going full force. You're going to have to cram your way through some things, and some people are not going to understand it. But if you are going to play the character, the role of the ram, the wise ram doesn't cram into everything and screw it up, but it knows when and where to use its horns and when not to, when and where to eat through something and when to leave it alone, when to stay asleep and when to be on high alert. So being able to choose the character of the Aries rising means that you are the warrior. You're the one who, as soon as you hear something, you're on guard. Can you be on guard for us with your authenticity? Can you say, oh, I'm the guard of authenticity. I can tell when it's not being used. My love, I don't want to fight you into your authenticity. I want to show you how you don't have to fight your way out of standing in your authenticity. I want you to fight to stand in it. And then when you stand in it, I want to make sure that you move forward from a place of peace. because peace isn't always still. Sometimes peace is moving. Sometimes peace can be a driven force, but it's still peace. So this is where you get to choose to not only be yourself, the self that you're creating, but to no longer be at war with the character that you want to play. It's really hard to play a character. You're at war with this character. No, I'm not. I'm just trying to learn my lines. Well, I'm the character and you should be listening to me. Well, I'm trying to, but you keep hopping off the page and getting into my life. Well, you're not playing me right. You don't have to do that anymore. This time, as you stand in your power to play yourself, it's going to be a little bit of a gamble. The fifth house deals with gambling, it deals with calculated risks, but you also have to remember the sun and the moon and Mercury is here. Honey, the house always wins. Go ahead, shake them up, shake them up, shake them, roll the die. It is loaded. It has been set for you to win every single time. If you can trust yourself in the biggest way that you have ever trusted yourself ever up until this point, to open your mouth and to speak your truth and to not worry about anybody's feelings. They'll collect them when they get to the door. But say what is in your soul. Take that courage of heart and fucking use it. Okay, I'm going to go to my Taurus risings. I don't normally do readings, well, not readings, but predictions like this. So this is interesting to me. You are a Taurus rising. You are going to have Leo in your fourth house cusp. So Taurus rising and then Leo in your fourth house cusp. So the sun, the moon, and Mercury are in your fourth house, not just of your physical home and or your childhood and your parents, but it is also the home that you carry with you all the time. This is the home of the crab as well, not just the moon, but the crab. And wherever the crab goes, it takes its home. So this is you becoming secure in your body. A lot of Taurus risings will be dealing with weight issues, especially dealing with maternal issues. If you can be at peace with the maternal issues, you will lose the weight because the weight holds on to what you hold on to. And if you are holding on to what your mama had said or what you wanted her to say and she didn't say, if you're still holding on to her providing a very shaky foundation for you, where you had to learn how to do some things for yourself and kind of fight for your voice to be heard and to be seen. This is where, if you want to release the weight, we're at that 0 point of infinity, you get to have a new story. You get to say that I'm actually in charge of my security and stand in your authentic power from your place of home. Because when you do that, your place of career or your workplace or the things that you want to do for work will fall in line. You will have a level of freedom that you haven't had before. So this is a level of freedom that maybe your mother or grandmother or a feminine caretaker did not have for whatever reason. That has nothing to do with you. Now, here is the time to get your house in order, your home, your physical body, and your physical home. This is also a time to tap into the lineage that you came from, to do your checks and balances. This is what I loved about growing up this way. This is what I did not like. These are the things that I'm not going to try to avoid, but I'm going to take note of so that when things come up for me from the past, I can address them not from a place of being triggered anymore and thrown back into my past and thrown back into this loop where I'm trying to get back to 0 point so that things can flow. If I'm not paying attention now and taking this energy to not even rewrite, but to write a new story about where you live now, what is the foundation that you have now? What are you going to be doing moving forward? What are you fixated on moving forward? Your own foundation or the previous foundation that should have been broken up by now? If you can release it, then the new stories that are going to come from your place of home, inside yourself and inside your physical home, they will tell the story of who you are now and the character that you're choosing to play and the foundation that you are choosing to create. Your home will start to look better. You will be able to have funds to invest in your home, or your home will make sure that you get the things you need. Your home may be like, you know what? I don't normally get caught in tornadoes, but this time I'm gonna go ahead and let the roof fly because they have good insurance and they need a new roof. And this money shouldn't have to come from their pocket because that's why they have insurance. Okay, they're gonna be fine. I may knock down a couple of trees and some corn in the backyard, but they'll be all right. They live by Kroger. Let the universe work for you and reclaim your foundation for yourself, because some of you all have started to build new foundations and still let other people come back in. So you can't say it's the former life that keeps chasing after you. You have to make sure that you're not going back to the former foundation, because it's so freaking easy to deal with the cracks and the crevices and the flooding basement and the faulty electrical wiring and the rodents and the pests and the noisy and nosy neighbors and the whatever else comes with a ruined toxic foundation. But you're used to the smell, you're used to the cracks, you're used to it. The bills are always too high, but you won't move into a place that's energy efficient. This is where you can get what you want, not just for your home, but for how you show up in the world. It would allow you to step into your space of freedom inside of the world, because what you create at home is going to show up inside the world. This is why your workplace can become your second home and why it can be nurturing, because you take from what's at home to work. You take from what's at home, you take your body to work, and that should be an extension. If your workplace is not an extension and makes you feel at home, then you got some choices to make in order to live your authentic life. Okay, I'm going to move on to Gemini Rising. Okay. Gemini. Here we go. Gemini Rising, you will have this new moon in your third house. So Gemini Rising, Leo in the third house. So talk about a news story. Some of you all may be dealing with writing new stories in regards to your siblings, the place that you used to live. Some of you all have moved back to where you used to live and you see the changes that need to be made, and you're the one that are going to help implement them. Go ahead and get your team ready. I would start with college students, especially because you have Aquarius in the ninth house. If you're planning on going back to school, absolute fantastic time to do it, because this time you will have the dedication and the commitment to finish. But also your goals will be more clear as to why you're going and what you plan on doing after you get what you're looking for. This time with Leo in the third house, you may have a couple of short trips coming up where you may have to see siblings or someone that you grew up with or felt like a sibling. Some of you all may be introduced to siblings you never knew you had. Some father secrets can come spilling out in a very big way. You have to be prepared to deal with that. How are you going to deal with the freedom to say what you need to say for a living? Some of you all have been given promotions or are moving into spaces where you have more responsibility, things are expanding for you, and you are going to have to speak up and speak the truth and have the courage to say the things that other people won't say, but please do it tactfully. You don't have to roar as loud for what's coming up for you. By the end of the year, I think that the backbone is say what needs to be said, not just with tact, but also in an elegant, loving way, in a way that rings with so much, just is absolutely saturated with the tone of the frequency of connection. I just want to connect with you in a loving way. We don't have to argue, we don't have to fight, but the truth is the truth. You musty, but it's okay, because I got all kinds of soaps. Do you want raspberry, pear soap, lavender soap? Do you want this Dr. Bronner's? Do you want bleach? It's whatever it is, I got you though. So you cannot be musty, and we can have a great conversation without both of us holding our fingers to our noses and pretending like we don't know where that's coming from. All right. So yes, let's do that. so that it teaches this person when that situation arises again, they have the courage to speak up. It can be from something as little as somebody just being a little to someone threatening to harm someone. Because oftentimes we get warnings before someone decides to go on a mass shooting spree or go on a harmful spree. And we're afraid to speak up and say, this person has been saying this over and over again, maybe even anonymously. I need to slide this information. It could help save someone. This is a place of great responsibility to be able to speak the truth and to speak it from a place of, and you'll hear me say this a lot, cogency. And what I mean by that is, let me actually clear my screen and show you. Let's see if it'll let me do it. So, cogent, okay? An argument or case, clear, logical, and convincing. Here's an example. They put forward cogent arguments for the British membership. It just makes sense, okay? That's really what cogency is. It's you've removed yourself from a place of confusion. You get to remove yourself from places of confusion. You get to create places of cogency. And the way that we create places of cogency or being in alignment or being clear is first and foremost by telling ourselves the truth of who we are. Am I doing this from a place of authenticity? Am I doing this because I love it? It feels good. It allows me to fully express myself, so that as I'm fully expressing myself and opening myself to this, that means that I'm also open to receiving the feedback that comes from it. Do I trust my feedback? Because if I can trust my feedback, that means I can entrust what I'm outputting. That means I can trust myself because the feedback is only coming back to me because of what I'm putting out. I trust what I put out. I trust what I say because I trust who I am. And when I can trust who I am, I can speak for others who are struggling to speak for themselves. And I can show them how to do that boldly and courageously around with a little bit of roar on the side. Okay, so I'm going to go to Cancer Rising. My Cancer Risings, you are going to help me pull up these annotations. Okay. So here's Cancer Rising, and you have a Leo in the second house. So for my Cancer Risings, you all have really been working on a new character, really birthing yourself. Working on a lot of mental and even spiritual confusion, so that as you move forward, you don't lose yourself, number one. You know who you are, number two. You're not what your mother, cousin, sister, brother said. You're not what your grandparents wanted you to be, and everybody ended up in the family business, and everybody's done this, but you're different. This is a new chance to step into a new foundation outside of deep government input and outside authority. It's about you. What kind of house do you want to build? Do you want to build a house made of straw, of sticks, or brick, concrete? Do you want a tiny house? Do you want a McMansion? Do you want to live in a glass house in Orange County for a year, and then live in a tiny home in the middle of the Appalachian Mountains the next year, and then live in a cave for 2 years in the Himalayan mountains? You get to say what you want to have, and therefore you will have it. The second house, which is Taurus's house, is I have. What do you have? The only thing that you have in this world is your authenticity. That is it. Your authenticity is your word. That is it, and that is all. If you end up in a coma and someone gains power of attorney over your decisions, That means that someone has the authority to speak for you until you are able to speak for yourself. However, if they decide that they like to have the power to speak over you, then that means that they may not allow you to speak for yourself. You may have to fight to speak for yourself. Well, let's be honest, you've been used to doing that for a very long time. And now that it's your turn to speak up for yourself, now that your voice is back, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to use what you say and the new risks that you take outside of what people told you, these new journeys? What are the risks I'm talking about? The new journey to start a new job, to build a home that you want out the fucking ground, instead of complaining about how no one has anything that you want. The courage to buy that plot of land, even though you may not know what to do with it yet. The land will tell you. To sell the land that you've been trying to get rid of because it represents a past that you're done with, and you want to give it away, or you want to share it, or you want to use it for something better than what it was. This is a chance to move forward outside of having to have a crew behind you, having to have your family behind you. This is your foundation. You get to plow this land alone for a little bit. And then the more you start working it, the more your friends, your soul tribe, your new family will show up to help. They'll start picking up rakes and they'll come with a moving truck. Somebody will bring the pizza. Somebody will, this and that, and bring and donate flowers for the garden. And somebody will donate silverware and this and that, because you started walking around and setting your foundation with what you have right now. So what do you have again, Cancer Risings, with Leo in the second house? Your fucking authenticity. Use it. I love you. Use it well, okay? Use it moodingly, healthily moodingly, okay? I don't know what that means, but I like how it sounds. Okay, let's go to, and I'm like, real quick, I can do this quickly. I can never do these quickly. Leo Risings. Natal home is a Leo rising. So my Leo rising's in the first house. And of course, because you're a Leo rising, you're going to have, and it's Leo season, you're going to have the sun in the first house, Mercury, the moon, and the rising sign. Okay, that is a crown. That is a stellium of stars. That's absolutely amazeballs that you have this, because this is the I've got the power. This is that placement where it's like, oh my gosh, I don't watch a lot of movies about casinos, but you know how in some movies about casinos, when that person gets that feeling, they start winning, they get that lucky streak, that's what it's called. And they just start winning everything that they touch. They're winning at blackjack and roulette, and they're doing all of this stuff, and spades. They just got the magic touch. Honey, you got it. Please use it, okay? Use it, don't lose it, and please don't abuse it, okay? It's for you. If you've ever wanted to shine in your life, now is the time. So with all of this energy in the first house, riding on that beautiful head of yours, on the opposite end, Saturn's like, hold your horses now. That's a really pretty crown you got there, to be ashamed if it got knocked down. So where freedom comes for you to be yourself at this point is in your relationships, especially your intimate relationships, and even more especiallyist, your sexual relationships. So intimate relationships, you don't have to engage in physical sex. Well, I should say penetration. But however, we're going to go back to the astrological forecast here and not go off on a tangent. Saturn and Jupiter are in your seventh house. Saturn, being in the sign of Aquarius, where it rules, is comfortable being in the sign of Aquarius. And it loves being in the sign of Libra because it gives Libra the power to make a freaking decision the first time that benefits everyone and leaves no one feeling guilty or making you lose sleep because you didn't make the right choice, Libra. So with Aquarius in the seventh house, which is ruled by Libra, This is a really fantastic time for you to explore certain freedoms in your relationship that you weren't able to before, levels of honesty and trust, levels of faith that you don't have to continue to push and press and try to make sure that the person is going to be there for you because you're so busy being present that you're with them. They are there for you because they're with you. You're not projecting yourself into a future that is being created right now. We create, I hope I'm not sounding like I'm running in circles. If you want stability in your relationship with people, every moment that you're with them creates that stability step by step. It takes time. This is Saturn, time, okay? I will help you slow down and enjoy the building of this relationship. Because if you don't take your time this time, you're only going to create the bad times from the last time, okay? Jupiter says, can you trust now? I really need you to trust yourself so that you don't become a mouthful of self-fulfilling prophecies and end up alone again with the crown of stars that ain't nobody trying to help take off your head at the end of the night, okay? So you being able to show up as yourself, for yourself, we're back to show yourself from Frozen. If you can be the torch. We just had the Olympics where you saw them light the torch. You're the torch, honey. You're the beacon of light that we're looking up to. We need to see a Leo rising or a Leo moon or a Leo sun or Mercury in Leo. Show us how to get Leo, okay? Show us how to strut. Show us how to go bow, bow, boom, boom, bow, show us how to maximize this energy in a beautiful, playful, loving way. Show us how to shimmy, show us how to wop, show us how to up jump and show us how to drop, show us how to roar, show us how to bat those lovingly cat-like eyelashes and move in a feline type of way. Show us how to embody this so that when we are embodying our authenticity and who we are, those are the people that we draw. We don't have to worry about drawing someone from our past because the light will be too bright for them. They're looking for your darkness and you'll be too busy shining. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright, like seriously. Don't hide your light, don't hide your truth, don't hide your creativity, don't hide your style. Make your hair bigger, make your eyebrows pop, make them hips do their thing, okay? But show up for you because that's the only way other people are going to show up for you. Going to my Virgo risings. All right, my Virgo risings, you're having this placement in the 12th house. Lucky you. In the house of self-undoing. So you get the lovely blessing of, it just hit me, someone said, don't take blessing, it means be less. I'm going to transmute that. You get the blessing, the gift, the love to, in the space, the mercy and the grace, the space to literally take off the character that you've been playing for so long that never really fit your talent and your skill and your breadth of experience. You can be done with that. You can be done with compromising and hiding your light under a bushel. That's not fair. It's not fair to anybody. We need to see you. We're ready for you. You can come in into the water and go deep and then come back out. Just come back out from time to time. We're ready to see you. Show yourself. What are you showing us? The new story of not only mental health, but emotional health, the ability to step outside of depression and to use your creativity authentically. What made you depressed was either no one liked your beautiful shit, or you thought it wasn't good enough, so you told yourself no one liked it, Or you really just didn't try hard enough. You really didn't. You just really didn't trust yourself. And I'm not going to say that you were lazy. I'm going to say that you avoided yourself. And you don't have to do that anymore. You can if you want to, though. It's your choice, honey. Sink or swim, swim or drown. It's literally up to you to fall back into a depression that you can actually hop out of, turn around and say, "Ooh, you almost got me." Thank you for being my tool and such a good friend. Thank you for reminding me that I wasn't creating. I was depressing, suppressing, repressing, oppressing, and possessing my gifts and my talents instead of showing them to the world. So can you write a new story that takes you from being this undercover artist, this undercover creator, this person that wants to hide behind other people and only shine when they feel like they have to? Can you allow the universe to take what's in your 12th house and expose it so that the work that you are here to do can get actualized? It has to come through you from the spiritual realm, from the mental realm, from this house of self-undoing, to undo all the characters, so that as you choose your new character, what plays out in the world is someone who is free enough to be themselves every single day, to, be free of the hustle and the bustle and the busyness and the overcriticalness and the over judgmentalness, and just say, "This is me. Yes, I have a third nipple and it's on my upper back and it looks like a pimple, but it's mine and I love it. And it's a little sensitive if you touch it the right way." Boop. Whatever it is, this is where you get to show the weird stuff, the freaky stuff, the stuff that other people would normally reject, because you have a soul tribe, you have an audience. And the only way that they can help you continue to be free by giving you feedback for what you're sharing, giving you feedback for your creativity, giving you feedback for the things that you can stop hiding now. When they're ready to give you that feedback, you have to be ready to receive it and not believe that they're lying or it's an illusion or they're not being real with you. Because the only person that you're fighting to share what you have with the world, whether it's talking, writing a book, doing something for children, opening a casino if you wanted to, that maybe that's your thing. Start doing a tarot, doing something hidden with the occult, doing something sexual that's normally considered sinful. Honey, it's your time and it's your world, but you have to create it. No one can create it but you. And we'll know what you're creating by what shows up around you. So have fun creating and create well, because you can create fuckery, or you can create something that not only assists other people, but that helps you evolve as well and helps you get comfortable with shining, even when you were told you shouldn't, even when you were told you couldn't. Okay, that is so super important. The freedom that you will get mentally and in every way, the mental prisons that you will free yourself from, the physical prisons that you will free yourself from, even the prison of where you work. As you step into your freedom, you have to trust that you are the one that maintains it. You are the one that has to be fixated on your own freedom and not wait and worry about anybody else becoming fixated on it, because they're not. It ain't their freedom, it's yours. You have to become fixated on shining every day so that you can bring things from the spiritual realm into the physical realm so that we all can benefit from them. So stop being stingy with your gifts and your powers. Jesus, please shine. Thank you. Libra Rising. The moon is going to be in your 11th house. Your Libra Rising here. So you get to stand in front of the world, really, in a sense. You get to stand in front of the world on the world stage and proclaim who you are. This is the curtain pulled back. This is the big show. This isn't the small stage. This is the big time. This is the big top, baby. what are you going to say? What do you have to say to us? What do you have to say to the people? And here's the thing, if you shift from thinking about what you have to say to the people to what do you have to say to a reflection of yourself that isn't free yet, that you know can be free, what do you have to say to your shadow that has been saying, when you enslave yourself to your negative thoughts and habits and to your past, you enslave me too. When you free yourself from those negative thoughts, patterns, thought forms that you create out of nowhere because all of a sudden you were triggered and you didn't know what to do. You lost all your tools from all your training, from all your life coaching classes, from going to church, from praying, from trying to be vegan, from getting tested for celiac. It's got to be something. It's something. It's something. It's just you. It's just you not opening up your soul and saying, no one on this planet can really truly hurt me. I can allow you to hurt my feelings and use it as a lesson and a gift to move forward and to grow in my emotional intelligence and in my emotional evolution. Or I could hold what I need to say on the inside and be so spiritually constipated that I drive myself nuts, so that when all of this energy moves into the 12th house, I might have to check myself into my local Bellevue. You don't have to drive yourself nuts by holding in all of this information. What you have to say isn't for everybody, and it's not supposed to be. Say what you need to say, and the people that need to hear it will hear and will act accordingly. But none of that can happen until you decide to actually stand on the stage and say, this is my show. I'm the director. I'm the producer. I cast everyone here. I play several characters myself. I call the intermissions. I sell the tickets. I'm also the audience. I'm the amazing critic that saw the nuances that the director and the writer wanted people to see. But I'm also that critic that saw every freaking flaw. You get it all. Get the whole show, the whole shebang. You're in charge. You've always wanted to be in charge. So, since you know how to bring harmony to something, I want you to get your batons pinned, my love. It is time to direct the orchestra. It is time to direct the choir. It is time to say, and quiet on set. Well, you don't say, well, the character that you play says quiet on the set, and then you say action. When you say action, whatever you say action to, it is going to be fixated on the script that was written. What kind of script have you written? I hope you've included some fun. I hope you've included not having to struggle and fight for your needs, whether it's a pandemic or not. I hope that when you write this new script, you're writing in your freedom and what it looks like and feels like and fucks like too. Because we're waiting to see this happen. Our Leo risings are showing us how to Leo, but you're really showing us also how to express that inner authenticity to the world and not give a fuck about what they have to say about it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to move to Libra, Scorpio. Nope. Hold on. One moment. All right, so for my Libra risings, not Libra risings, my Scorpio risings, because I just did Libra. So I have my Scorpio risings, and let's move this out of the way so I can show you where Leo is in your chart. So you have Leo on the 10th house cusp, the 10th house. Ooh-wee. Because you have that Leo energy basically at noon in your chart, and it's opposing your 4th house, that midnight in your chart. There's a song, it's a gospel song by an artist named Fred Hammond, and he sings this lyric, late in the midnight hour, And this is the part where you have to insert your name, because he says, God's gonna turn it around. It's gonna work in your favor. So you get to insert your name, because this is where you stand in that godlike power and say, not only do I have the power to change my story, to change my past so that I can change my future, but this is something that I will be known for. I will be known for transmuting energy. Some of this is started from the bottom energy, but not all of it is. Some of it is, I thought I needed to start from the bottom. I actually pulled myself down a few pegs to start from the bottom. I met someone and pulled myself down for them to start from the bottom so that I could rise. And you don't have to. This new life that you're building, you don't have to go back to the bottom. Please refuse that. When Leo is in the 10th house, and you have right now, we have the midheaven, the sun, the moon, and Mercury there. What you want to do for a living, what your future career is, what you want to be known for, what your reputation is, what you bring into successful fruition so that you can share it with people, teach people, show them by example what your level of success looks like, what your version of it looks like. Your version may be a tiny home in the mountains and peace every day. Fucking fantastic. There are people that want to pay you for that information, or they want to follow along. They want to be inspired. This is where, if you wanted to ever a life coach, do that shit. If you wanted to be that counselor, do that shit. Have you been called to preach? Go ahead and preach, my love. Spread the word, spread the good news, spread the healing news, okay? As long as it's spiritually healthy, okay? If you are a teacher or an orator, if you work with children, if you're ready to start that foundation for kids, or if you're ready to graduate the foundation from kids to older kids, or even working with people's inner child. If you wanted to work with animals, if you finally want to be a star, if you want to start that fucking YouTube channel, God damn it, do it now. YouTube allows you to tap into the frequency of having your own channel, your own network, your own frequency. And yes, you will draw haters. Yay, awesome sauce, because they're a part of that frequency. Your haters can actually give you more information than the people that are agreeing with you. They're also your friends too. They just use a different name. Yeah, they have a different code name. Use your haters, okay? Use people who project their lack of authenticity onto you because you are shining so bright. You are flying so high. It sounds cliche. I'm shining bright and I'm flying high. Trust me, when you are shining, there is not a feeling like it in the whole wide world. Because that's exactly what you feel like, the king of the world, the queen of the world, the ruler of the world, but not in a way that is possessive. It just says, this world is mine. This world is mine for me to love in, to enjoy, to reproduce in, whether I'm reproducing art or human flesh. I am the one who is in charge of this, and I bring this to a success. Nobody can do it but me. And I can't trust anybody else with my authenticity but me. I will never again give it to someone that reminds me of my mother or my father, or let someone strip it from me the way that it happened in my household. I now have the backbone and the household, the shiny household, because we're talking about Leo here, to not only stand behind my amazing and mighty roar, but I also have the ability to show other people how to do it, how to get it, how to maintain it, how to become fixated on the things that make them happy, that bring them joy, how to become fixated on taking calculated risk, how to become fixated on following through with an amazing, healthy expression of ego, or what we also call the personality. Your personality is such a gift to you. Use it, birth something new, birth a new idea of success, birth a new idea of what hard work looks like to you, birth a new idea of how old you need to be become a star or a celebrity, or to be seen, or to get your writings out there, or to be cast in something big. Change your story. to one that ends. Start with the end in mind when you're writing your story. Pretend like you're at an award show. If you wanted an Oscar, pretend like you're at the Oscars and say, and actually don't even pretend, be there. In your mind's eye, just be there. Don't say you're pretending. Yeah, you're pretending to something that you're creating, but because that's the new moon, but also be there, feel it, touch it. Whatever you have in your hand, pretend like that's what it is. This is it. It feels so good. Here's Mr. Oscar. I finally got him. How does it feel? Are you nervous? Are the lights hot? Are you regretting wearing a thong? Or did you feel like you went with the wrong designer? Do you think you're going to forget to thank your mom? Should you thank your mom? Will they say something if you don't? Put yourself there and then tell your story from the place of your ultimate success. That is how you manifest yourself into the life that you want. Okay, I'm gonna move on to my Sag Risings. Oh my gosh, I have no idea how long I've been going, but oh well. Sag Risings, okay. This. Okay, here is the new moon in your 9th house. And what you're going to be fixated on this year, my Sag Risings, is that because Leo is an immutable house, the 9th house is mutable. Being able to get fixated on not really just what you want to learn and or teach, but the methods in which you're used to learning and teaching things. A lot of those things have to change, and you have to become more fixated on, first and foremost, allowing the people that you meet to be themselves and meeting them where they are without feeling like you're losing out on being your authentic self. If you would bend down to a 3-year-old and make sure that you're at eye level when you're having a conversation with them so that they can feel safe and also be able to have a conversation with you without yelling up and feeling intimidated by your height and your age and your level of authority. This is when you get all the goods. This is when they tell you everything, because now they have your eye. They know they have your ear. And with Leo here, then you get the heart. You're going to go for the heart of the people, not their intelligence level, not the degrees that they have, not if they're tenured or not, or if they have a GED or not, or if they got their GED in prison. It matters not. This is when you get to help other people change their stories as well. So whether you decide to go back to school or not, your choice is going to hinge on, is this something that's authentically for you? Are you going back because someone told you to or because you really want to? And you're going to have to be fixated on this. This isn't something that you're going to hop in and just quit. Finish it, get fixated on it so that you can finish it, okay? Because the amount of freedom that you are going to have, especially with the way that you communicate with people and the way that people communicate with you, because sometimes, my Sag Risings, you feel like there are people that can't get on your level. But to be honest, sometimes you put yourself on a level that you can't even understand either. And that's part of the problem. There are people that can understand you, but you want your problems to be so fucked up, so out of it. And because I mean, you got Pisces in the 4th house. So sometimes it's like, but I just need to wallow and suffer first before I use my fire and bow and arrow to set my intentions and get myself the fuck up out of here. So with Leo in the 9th house, are you changing your perspective and your message from the lessons that you've received thus far, from the freedom that you've received from speaking your truth, from the freedom that you've received for raising your prices, saying no to an ex, telling a child, and you cannot move back home, but I love you and I actually gave you every tool that you need to build your own. Okay, this could also be the expansion of the home or expansion of children. Or you can be opening a daycare, or learning how to drive a bus for kids, or people really in general, but especially children. Whatever it is that you're doing, how are you going to be a vessel in this? How are you going to teach something in a way that's authentic to you, that has nothing to do with how it goes by the books? If you're intuitively led and you know that this isn't harmful, this is your time to do that, to step into that inner power, to be courageous. And I don't know why I keep hearing like raise your prices. I don't know. But to also be courageous enough to raise your prices so that you can get paid for sharing the knowledge and the wisdom that other people can sometimes be too spiritually lazy to get for themselves. There, I said it. Okay. All right, my Sag risings. And now I'm going to go to Capricorn risings. Oh, Cap risings, you're going to have this Leo energy. So there's Cap in Leo in the 8th house, which opens up the doors of freedom for you in your 2nd house and your foundation. So this is actually like taking a jackhammer. I could not think of kept thinking bulldozer, but a bulldozer or a jackhammer to the basement of your life, to the sub basement, really, that foundation. Oh, I have a picture on my phone. I wish I could show you. There is a scene in the movie Inception where they get the sun all the way down to the sub level, past the subconscious, like to the unconscious of, or the subconscious of the man's father, so that he could get a memory, implant a memory in his father's mind. He had all these dream workers. He had somebody who developed the drugs and chemicals for the dream, for you to sink low enough so that the architect, could create a fake world for you to believe that you were actually in. And for the this and the that, there are all these key elements that are needed to get this son down to his father's subconscious. But one thing that I noted is no matter how many people were around him trying to help him get there, when it was time for him to cross the threshold, there is a shot of him coming through the subterranean like gateway or whatever. And it's in a cave. And like, I don't know if it's in Antarctica or the Arctic Circle or Alaska, but it's somewhere cold as heck. And as he's coming through the open gateway of the portal, right at the top, it says, authorized personnel only. Authorized personnel only to help you build your foundation. Only people who know what the hell that looks like and what it entails and how to finish building the foundation are allowed to help you build your new foundation. I promise you, the people are out there. Ask and you shall receive, and the people will show up. I promise you they will. Because there's a part of you that can be really stubborn when it comes to letting people in your basement, in your secret hidey out. Most of us pretty much have what you have in your little secret red room, Capricorn risings, okay? With Leo in your 8th house, you're going to have the courage to share your truth. It is so important and so necessary, especially with Gemini in the 6th house and the North Node being there right now. Being able to share your truth every day. You don't have to give your whole story all the time. But when you're sharing your story, make sure that you're not going back and restitching over the same story. This happened to me, this hurt, this happened, I was hurt, this happened. We need you to say, this is what happened that catalyzed me, that changed me, that transmuted me, that moved me, that pushed me, that encouraged me, cajoled me. Seemed like it disempowered me, but I actually found a way to empower myself through that. I got from the crazy loop on this side that was producing no results to 0 point on the Lion's Gate, and I chose a different story. I chose to tell a different tale. I chose to use different building materials that were flame retardant. I chose to build in a new location. I chose to not hang out with those people, places, things, have those thoughts, eat that food, even though I was told it was culturally this or blah, 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 blah. It's not good for me and my body. My new foundation says no. I have to start off with building a foundation based on freedom, not rebellion. Because if I build a foundation based on rebellion, I'll always be rebellion. I will always be hiding from myself. This is a foundation where you get to walk around your glass house butt ass naked and tint the windows if you don't want to be seen. This is where you get to tell the truth about all your little cult stuff you've been doing that's been working. This is where you get to help shine a light in other people's caves so that they can come out of their own basement, their own caves, their own closets, their own warehouses, their own storage rooms, their own fuckery. This is where you show someone, this is how you become that phoenix and spontaneously burst. And from the ashes, from what was left over, I can now build something new. So your foundations, in a sense, may have been burning some way, somehow, especially things in regards to yourself and who you are and how you allow people to treat you, talk about you. If you're going to give somebody something to talk about behind your back, give them something juicy. Give them something authentic to talk about, because if you give them something authentic to talk about, they're lending energy to you, not taking it from you. Go ahead and get your inner witch on, Capricorn Risings. And for I'm actually going to go to Pisces Rising and then Aquarius Rising, because I'm an Aquarius Rising and I'm not ready to read myself yet. Okay, so that's what happens when it's your show. So my Pisces Risings, you are Pisces right there. And Leo, you are having this energy in your 6th house of everyday work, habits, routines, the house of the Vestal Virgin, the house of cleanliness, the house of health. And with this new message that's coming through, you're going to be feeling a lot of not pressure, but, and I don't even want to just say inspiration, but really now true motivation, true movement, this vation to move, this ovation, this get up, this movement, let's go, let's move our bodies. We need to get our health in order. So you'll be telling a new story about your health. You'll be telling a new story about how you learned how to enjoy and love on boundaries and why they were necessary, and they keep you safe and they keep you healthy and they keep you from getting other people sick. And they keep you from getting yourself sick, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally and financially too. This is where you will probably be having a lot of doctor's appointments or checking on yourself, checking your pH, probably checking your urine. You have Aquarius in the 12th house. So where a lot of your freedom is going to come in. So you're going to actually be fixated on your mental health. You may have dealt with family members who deal with mental illness like schizophrenia, bipolar, all the 1, 2, 3s, and all the numbers that come after that because they keep changing them. You may have neurodivergent family members that you may not quite understand, or you may be neurodivergent yourself and are seeking understanding from neurotypical people who are not seeking to understand neurodivergent people. So a freedom that you are just basking in right now is having the backbone to not have to give your story from a place of pain and suffering anymore. There's no longer the, hey, tell me about yourself. Well, I was adopted and because my parents didn't want me, versus, well, I was adopted because my parents knew enough, loved me enough to know that they couldn't take care of me, and that it was a really great act of courage to say, at minimum, I hope someone else can take care of my child. I cannot guarantee it, but I know that this baby will not, I cannot raise this baby well. I cannot raise their vibration to the level that it's supposed to go to, that it's supposed to be attuned to. So I have to give this baby to somebody else who knows how to do that. When do we change our stories from being raised by alcoholics and drug addicts and people who are parents who were mentally ill, from parents who OD'd, or we saw have a fit after a heroin overdose. You know, how many of us are going to keep holding on to the story of who wasn't there, who didn't show up? When do we change that? When do we get to a 0 point? We get to say, fuck it, put it in the chuck it bucket bucket, and we start all over again. You don't have to if you want to, but here is the portal for you. Here is the portal for you to draw a boundary about how you talk about your past, when you talk about your past, and whom you talk about your past to. Because if you give me your past and I use it to empower you, and you try to fight me back because you don't want me to empower you, you want me to enjoy the misery of your past, we cannot be friends. I will see you on the by and by. This is where you, my Pisces risings, get to have that boundary to say, no more self-illusions and delusions. I know how to move from a place of cogency, from alignment. I now have the backbone to stand in my freedom every single day. And the more I stand in my freedom mentally, the more I wake up and do my mirror work and stand in that mirror, or do my water work, stand in the water, or hell, get on the Oculus, or get on some virtual reality program, or get on Calm, or use an app. The more I tap into the collective conscious, is the more I get to separate my thoughts and who I am from the world, so that when I stand in my authenticity, you know that I've done the work spiritually. Because once again, everything in my world, everything will show up because I'm showing up for myself. I am not afraid to dip down into the waters of my soul and explore myself. I just won't stay too long, so that I start to depress myself and not share my gifts. I know that sleep is an escape for me. I know that comfort food can be an escape for me. I know that being a recovering undercover overlover is an escape and addiction for me. But I'm willing as a Pisces rising to work on these addictions every day, to channel them and transmute them from being addicted to getting pleasure from the pain that I used to receive, because that's what I'm used to. If I'm going to be addicted to anything, I'm going to be addicted to seeking out helpful solutions. And then I'm going to understand that as I meet the need of the addiction goes away. And I don't want to be addicted to anything but my authenticity, because I'm sexy. That's for you, my Pisces risings, okay? Be sexy. If you're going to be addicted to anything, be addicted to your authenticity. Be fixated on your everyday habits to not fight your shadow, but to incorporate your shadow. Wake up to your shadow and say, hey, woke up from a dream. Would you like to hear it? Because I'm not going to fight you today. If I fight you, you're going to fight me back, shadow. Do you hear me, Pisces risings? If you love me, if I love you, you're going to love me back. If I tell you I trust you, if I honor you, if I pay you some attention, if I purposely take you with me, if I purposely understand what you are, dear shadow, that you are a part of me and you are my intuition, but you don't have a mouth, you don't have eyes, you don't have a nose. Hell, you don't have a booty hole, because the intuition don't need to shit, and intuition don't need to have a mouth to speak. It doesn't need to have physical eyes to see. That's how it works through you. That's why either you let your shadow, your wounded shadow, speak for you by saying, oh my God, somebody was supposed to call me at 6 o'clock and they're supposed to be special to me and I'm supposed to be special to them, and they didn't call me until 6:45. Not knowing that this person could have been doing something for you that in 15 minutes from now, you're going to be saying, oh my God, no one ever did this to me before. No one ever, showed me this kind of love. Oh, but you almost ruined it because you were worried about this person not doing something they said that they were going to do, because they didn't do it when they said they were going to do it, or when they thought they would be able to do it. So this is where you get to change that habit and say, well, I know this person loves me and cares for me, and the only reason why they wouldn't call me is because something came up and it's something that they had to handle. But I know, and I can trust them, and I can trust their character. I can trust the character that they're playing, that they're not going to disappoint me or let me down, because I don't even do that to myself. Because remember, it's Pisces rising. I'm sexy with it, with this Leo in the sixth house. My body is banging. I have it exactly the way that I want it, whether I'm 320, 120, 420 or not. I trust myself. I trust the people that are coming into my life to show up every day. Animals show that they trust me. If I'm afraid of animals, this is the time where I become unafraid of animals. Go to an animal shelter. If you are afraid of animals, just wear your mask because animals can have COVID too. But face your fears so that you can stop walking around boundless, unanchored. Anchor yourself, get fixated on your mental health and your physical health and watch everything flourish for you. Watch treasures come up out the waters. Watch yourself co-create something completely brand new in your story that changes your everyday living, that allows you to live a healthier, much less toxic life than you've ever lived before. And now we're going to go to my Aquarius risings. Let's go back. All right, fine. Aquarius risings. Here you are. So here's the ascendant in Aquarius, Saturn and Jupiter right at the tail end at 28 degrees. And then that means that Leo is in our seventh house of relationships. And so we kind of have the opposite of Leo risings, because for us Aquarius risings, we have been changing fundamentally because we have had the planet Jupiter and Saturn go through our first house. And we're right on the edge, we're on the cusp of feeling the energy of Pluto, which is going to cross over into our first house in 2023. That's not too far from now. So there's no one alive right now that can tell us what that transformation will be like, because Pluto hasn't been here for like 248 years. And so before Pluto can cross over, Saturn, I think, and Jupiter cross over to say, okay, we need to prepare you for some changes. So first I'm going to start with the new moon energy. New moon in the seventh house. Some of us are married, some of us are in relationships, some of us are seeking relationships, and some of us have just entered relationships. I know some of y'all got freaky this weekend, especially with all the conjunctions that were happening. So with that being said, our ability to be fixated on rising to the occasion, to share our authenticity in our partnerships, in our intimate partnerships, that's some scary shit. To be your most authentic self, to make sure that it doesn't matter who you're around, who you meet, especially when you're with your partner, that you get to eat your wax mustache when you want to. And nobody's going to think that your partner is less than for being with you because you're a little wacky and you're a little zany, because you know you drew a little zany partner yourself. Oftentimes Aquarius risings will draw a straight partner, meaning a partner who is the straight guy to our comedy, because Leo is a funny sign. Leo loves jokes, right? And we also have Gemini in the fifth house. So, pardon me. I actually like to play with this. Okay, fake wax candy mustache aside. This is the placement that activates our North Node in Leo, if you have a North Node in Leo. My North Node is at 29 degrees. But for those who have a North Node in Leo, you're having a nodal activation, my loves. This is going to be reminiscent of the 2017 North Node going into Leo and the eclipse. So this energy can be a doozy. For me, I'll explain it this way. I've been feeling like I've been on this beautiful stage, but the lights are going out one by one. Like I can hear the lights going out, just everywhere I go, the constant shutting down. I can tell that the floors have been swept, the audience has been gone. They've even turned the house lights out. And I'm hearing, the show is over. It was a good run, but the show is over. And I know the old me would have been very afraid to turn around and walk off the stage. But I'm so ready. I haven't booked another gig yet. I haven't decided what I wanted to do yet. And I don't have to because I'm at 0 points. I'm at 0 points. So I am the one who's in charge. We are the ones who are in charge. We're the ones who get to say, this is what freedom looks like. This is what liberation of fighting your shadow, thinking you're fighting the government, fighting your parents, fighting society, fighting religion, fighting your siblings, fighting desire, fighting duality, fighting the 3D world, fighting the matrix, fighting with your intuition, fighting with your shadow, fighting with yourself. That is all it's been. And what stops you from moving forward is the very thing you need to embrace in order to move forward. And here's the secret, honey. There's nothing stopping you from moving forward. There's nothing stopping us from moving forward. Nothing. No one said you had to show up every single freaking day. We don't have nothing in the 6th house for this. This is in the 7th house. So where we show up every day is in relationship to ourselves first, our freedom to be authentic so that the people that we are with get to benefit from our authenticity. This is how we change the family dynamics and the lineage, okay? So with the sun, the moon, and Mercury here, what kind of relationship do you want to have? It's time to renegotiate those contracts, renegotiate the marriages, the booty calls, the homie lover friend relationships, the situationships, the I'm only staying with them because I need a place to stay temporarily, when the universe is like, if you trust me, I can put you somewhere where you can stay by yourself and you don't have to worry about nobody scratching their ass in the middle of the night, walking past the TV, waking you up with their farts. This is also marrying yourself, marrying your intuition, making a new agreement with your strength and your power to hold a relationship with yourself, to allow yourself the mercy and grace to explore this newfound freedom, to not be over judgmental, to not gamble in your relationships, but to take the risk to evolve it in a way that you don't know anybody around you is doing. You may want to have a separate house than your partner or have a separate bedroom. If it makes you feel good, do it. If you want to explore it, do it. If you want to explore something new sexually, if you want to explore being an interdependent individual who maintains their individuality while in a committed relationship, do it. If you don't want the marriage or parenthood, don't create it. If you don't want the marriage or parents had, set some intentions then. If you don't want the marriage your parents had, stop focusing on your parents' marriage and what they had or didn't have, and focus on what you do have and what you can build up from there. Because the story that you're going to be fixated on is, I can have healthy relationships. I can have loyal relationships. I can have freedom in my relationships because I'm the only one that can give it to me in the first place. So if I love myself, I love myself well. If you love yourself well, if you love yourself just enough to show yourself, to show your authenticity, to expose the creative, amazing, zany, goofy ass, mostly smart, but sometimes a little dumb, a little smart dumb. Sometimes we can be a little smart dumb. Like, did I really make that decision and expect a different result? But when we're at 0 point and we're at 0 point together, this is where we can make a most impactful change as a community, as our Aries rising all the way to Pisces rising show their level of freedom and trusting their intuition and allowing themselves to speak. When intuition speaks through you, it speaks from a place of authenticity, period. It is the truth. That's it. It's the truth, Ruth. And shit, who said the truth's name was Ruth? It might be Shaniqua. So, what is your truth? What justifies your words, your choices, your actions? Who justifies your words, choices, and actions? Who is the authority in your life? Who is telling the story? Who is reading the story? Who is honoring the story? Hell, who wants to make the story into a movie? Who wants to be great? Who wants to stop just reading about people and watching movies about great people and actually be the fucking hero of the story? Who wants to stop pretending like they don't know the secret to happiness, which is you create that shit every single day and you celebrate it every day. And when you stop celebrating happiness and you stop dancing in joy, it doesn't get lonely. It's like, well, they didn't put themselves in a corner and I'll be here when they get back. Freedom and authenticity are lovers. They're inseparable. They go together. And the baby that they make is a level of creativity beyond any age has known until now. The world is changing, y'all. Technology is surpassing so many milestones that we are kind of still not prepared for. So we have to get prepared for the evolution of the world by allowing ourselves to evolve. Go ahead and disintegrate, my love. Your chrysalis will happen when we have the quarter moons, when it's a half moon. And then you'll emerge as that butterfly on August 22nd. You will see the fruition of you acting and standing in your authenticity from now until then. It's not a long time. It's a couple weeks for you to prove to yourself that the world will respond in kind when you show us who you are. I love you. Thank you for listening. I am not doing timestamps on this one. Catch your sign when you catch your sign. I'm just kidding. I love you, but I'm going to bed. And happy activation. Happy roaring season. Happy standing into your power. Shine on, star. Shine bright like a diamond. Hey. Fly high like an eagle. Like, seriously, we can do this together. I'll see you on the outside.